Hey guys, welcome to our channel, What Happens? Today, we're delving into a bit of a hot topic. What would happen if we dumped all our trash into volcanoes? A fiery solution to our waste problems, or a disaster waiting to happen? We'll be sifting through the science behind volcanoes and the composition of our waste to find out. So hold on tight, because things are about to get heated. Before we dive in, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel for more intriguing scientific content. To understand the potential consequences of dumping trash into volcanoes, we first need to grasp the science behind these fiery mountains. A volcano is not just a mountain spouting fire and brimstone. It's a geological marvel that forms when there's a rupture in the Earth's crust, allowing hot lava, volcanic ash, and gases to escape from a magma chamber beneath the surface. This occurs because our Earth is layered much like an onion, with a core, mantle, and crust. It's in the mantle where most of the action happens. The mantle is a layer of hot molten rock called magma, which is lighter than the surrounding rock. When the pressure builds, the magma seeks an escape route to the surface, resulting in a volcanic eruption. The composition of a volcano is a fascinating mix of elements. The magma that forms the basis of a volcano contains a mixture of molten or semi-molten rock, along with dissolved gases and sometimes crystals. As the magma rises, the pressure decreases, allowing the gases to escape, much like the bubbles in your fizzy drink when you open the lid. Volcanoes also pack quite the thermal punch. The temperature within a volcano during an eruption can range from 700 to 1,100 degrees Celsius. That's hot enough to melt gold. The pressure inside a volcano, particularly deep within the magma chamber, can be many thousands of times atmospheric pressure. Eruptions can be explosive or effusive. Explosive eruptions are violent and can blast ash and rock high into the sky. Effusive eruptions, on the other hand, see lava steadily flow out of the volcano, creating new layers of land. In short, volcanoes are a potent mix of heat, pressure, and volatile substances. They are capricious by nature and can be dormant for centuries, only to awaken in a sudden explosive display of their latent power. Now that we have a better understanding of the science behind volcanoes, we can explore what might happen if we dump our trash into them. Our trash is as complex as any ecosystem, filled with various elements and materials. Dive into any waste bin, and you'll discover a microcosm of our daily lives. From the leftover food we couldn't finish, to the plastic packaging of our latest online purchase, it's all there, but what exactly makes up our trash? Let's start with plastics. They're everywhere, from grocery bags to water bottles. They make up a significant portion of our waste. But plastics are not so simple. They're polymers, long chains of molecules, and come in various types. Some soften under heat, while others just char and release toxic gases. Then there are metals. Think of the soda cans, the batteries, or the broken electronics you've tossed out. These are largely composed of metals like aluminium, copper, and even precious metals like gold in small quantities. When subjected to extreme heat, most metals melt and some even vaporize, but they also release harmful gases in the process. Let's not forget organic waste. This includes everything from food scraps to yard waste. When heated, organic matter undergoes a process called pyrolysis, breaking down into simpler compounds, gases, and a carbon-rich residue. This process is actually used in some waste treatment facilities to convert organic waste into biochar, a type of charcoal that can be used as soil amendment. And we can't overlook the miscellaneous items that make up our trash. Things like glass, textiles, and paper, each with its own unique reaction to heat and pressure. Glass, for instance, melts and can solidify into a glassy slag, while paper and textiles typically char and burn, leaving behind ash and releasing carbon dioxide among other gases. So what does this all mean? Well, all these materials react differently when subjected to extreme heat and pressure, like in a volcano. Some might melt or burn, while others release harmful gases. And while it might be tempting to imagine a volcano as nature's incinerator, we must remember that the gases and residues released can have harmful impacts on the environment and our health. Knowing the composition of our trash gives us a clearer idea of what might happen if we were to throw it into a volcano. So what happens when these two complex systems, volcanoes and trash, meet? When you take the intricate science of volcanoes and couple it with the varied composition of our trash, the consequences are both fascinating and alarming. Let's dive into the potential outcomes of dumping our waste into these fiery pits. Firstly, we need to consider the gases that would be released. Most of our trash is made up of organic materials, which when burnt produce harmful gases. Imagine millions of tons of trash being incinerated in a volcano. The resulting smoke would be laden with carbon dioxide, methane, and other greenhouse gases, contributing to the already growing problem of climate change. Next, let's talk about the violent eruptions that could occur. Remember, when we discussed the science of volcanoes, we learned that pressure plays a significant role in volcanic eruptions. Now, imagine what would happen if we were to block this natural pressure release valve with tons of trash. The buildup of pressure could lead to an explosive eruption, flinging molten lava and burning trash far and wide. But the consequences don't stop there. The environmental damage would be immense. The release of toxic gases would pollute the air we breathe, and the spread of burning trash and lava could destroy habitats and ecosystems. This isn't even considering the potential for harmful chemicals from our trash to leach into the ground and contaminate our water sources. In addition to all that, there's a logistical challenge. Most of the world's volcanoes are located in remote and hard-to-reach places, making the transportation of trash to these locations both expensive and impractical. And finally, let's not forget one important factor: the unpredictability of volcanoes. These sleeping giants can lie dormant for years, even centuries, before suddenly awakening. Dumping trash into a seemingly dormant volcano could potentially trigger an unexpected eruption with disastrous consequences. It's clear to see that the idea of using volcanoes as trash disposals is not as straightforward as it might initially seem. Sure, it might sound like a neat solution to our waste problem, but when you delve into the science, the risks and potential damage far outweigh any potential benefits. It is clear that using volcanoes as trash disposals might not be as practical or safe as one might initially think. It's a captivating notion, but the realities of such a method remind us of the importance of responsible waste management and the search for sustainable and environmentally friendly waste disposal methods. If volcanoes are not the answer, then what are some scientifically sound methods of dealing with our ever-growing trash problem? Well, let's dive in and explore some innovative alternatives to traditional waste disposal. One of the most familiar methods is recycling. This process involves collecting, sorting, and processing waste materials into new usable products. It's a great way to reduce the amount of waste that ends up in landfills and incinerators. However, recycling isn't a perfect solution. Not all materials can be recycled, and the process itself can be energy-intensive. Next up, we have composting, nature's way of recycling. Composting is the decomposition of organic waste like fruit peels and grass clippings into a nutrient-rich soil conditioner. It's a fantastic way to reduce the amount of organic waste that ends up in landfills where it generates greenhouse gases. But again, composting isn't a catch-all solution. It only works with organic waste, and it requires the right conditions to be effective. Another promising alternative is waste-to-energy technologies. These methods involve converting non-recyclable waste materials into usable heat, electricity, or fuel. This not only helps to reduce the volume of waste, but also provides a renewable source of energy. However, we must be mindful that these technologies can produce harmful emissions if not properly managed. And let's not forget about waste reduction. This involves making a conscious effort to produce less waste in the first place. It can be as simple as choosing products with less packaging, or as complex as redesigning industrial processes to minimize waste production. Waste reduction is arguably the most sustainable method of waste management, but it requires a significant shift in our habits and lifestyles. The science is clear. We need to find better ways to manage our waste, and that starts with each one of us. So whether it's recycling more, composting at home, supporting waste-to-energy technologies, or simply producing less waste, every little bit helps. Let's all do our part to keep our planet clean and healthy for future generations. In conclusion, dumping our trash into volcanoes is not a viable or safe solution to our waste problem. We've learned about the complex science of volcanoes, the varied composition of our trash, and the potential devastating consequences of this method of disposal. We've also explored alternative, more sustainable waste disposal methods. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of What Happens. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in our next exploration of the fascinating world of science.